This is Get Real with Bob and Stacey, the show that helps you learn about the mortgage and real estate markets. Get the inside scoop from their expert list of guests and have some fun along the way. Now, here's Bob Gallagher and Stacey Alcorn.
Welcome back. You're listening to Get Real with Bob and Stacey, and you're joining us for our Leaders and Legends segment. Our guest for this segment is Christine Whitmarsh, biographer to the movers, shakers, and stars. Welcome to the show, Christine.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So I want to give everybody a little bit of background on Christine. She helps authors, speakers, and personalities share their stories, communicate their messages, and build thought leadership platforms through their books. As a ghostwriter since 2001, Christine has worked with major publishing houses, including Simon & Schuster, Penguin Group USA, and Morgan James Publishing. Christine is also the #1 Amazon bestselling author of the content marketing book, Personal Paparazzi, Your Brand Story Told Your Way. Her creative agency of professional writers and strategists has served clients worldwide since 2003. Today, Christine's agency serves high-profile personalities and thought leaders, helping them write their books and then create content marketing strategies to reach their readers. Her personal mission is to change the world one story at a time. I am so excited to have you on, Christine, because I wrote a book for my business a few years ago, and it changes everything for your business. Just having a book, whether people read it or not, it doesn't really matter. Just having a book changes your business. And so many people say, I just don't have what it takes to write a book. So tell us, how did you get into ghostwriting books for people?
Oh my gosh. Well, I've been writing my whole life. And by the way, congratulations on your book. That is awesome. What a better business card that is, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I have been writing my whole life, and there's like a long, windy road biographical story that takes me through screenwriting and freelance writing. And then finally, at one point, I was doing so much writing for so many different people that my mom, in all her brilliance, said, you're doing so many different types of writing services. It's like you're a company. You're like Christine Incorporated. And I said, Christine Inc. And then I changed the C to a K, and that's how my company was born. And one of the first things that I did was I ghost wrote a book for a celebrity acting coach out in Hollywood, and that just kind of got the ball rolling from there, and reputation and word of mouth sped up, and the company grew over the years. I added a team, and it's one of those natural evolutions of business.
Wow, that's amazing. So what are the biggest challenges you see people experiencing when it comes to writing their own book?
Well, it's like you were saying about people think they don't have it in them to write a book. They're not sure. What we find is it's the starting point. Just like with any kind of big project, especially a big creative project where you really feel like you're out of your element, it's that idea of, I don't even know where to start. I need a jumping off point. I don't know, how to write a book. I have a lot of ideas. I write blog posts on a regular basis because we do work with a lot of business people, and they're used to writing, but they're used to writing short form, and there's certainly a difference between writing a 600-word blog post every week and then writing a 60,000-word book.
Right.
So they're just, trying to wrap their minds around the size and scope of the project. And, of course, they want to make sure they do a good job as well.
Right. So what are some misconceptions and myths about writing and publishing a book that you run into?
One of them is that people can just kind of, kick out a book in a weekend and that'll be fine. We have a major thing about quality in our company because, so many people are writing books, which is great. It's, even with the fears and the anxieties and not knowing where to start, there are quite a few people writing books, but sometimes there's not the commitment to quality. So it's just like anything else, any kind of products in the marketplace. When you're just kind of kicking something out just for the sake of kicking it out, it's pretty easy to get it lost in the pile of other mediocre, as we call it here. So it's what we really like to focus on is helping people write books that can really stand out on what I call the global bookshelf.
That's awesome.
How long does it take to write a book on average?
For a business book, it can take anywhere between 3 to 6 months. A memoir is certainly longer. We specialize in biographies and memoirs that can take up to a year. It depends, of course, on the client, the level of research, just, all those X factors. But that's the short answer.
So do you have any potential profile for, say, people or types of businesses that you think just absolutely need to have a book for their business or life?
Well, I think most people need to have a book.
Mm-hmm.
The people that we really love to work with are the ones that have that message. So it sometimes has to do with their business. It sometimes has to do with their business and their life and the lessons and messages that they've learned. It's one of those things where if people have been telling you for a long time, oh my gosh, everything you say is brilliant and it's helping to change my life and I can't stop thinking about the things that you're telling me and your lessons and everything from your life. If people keep telling you that, that's probably a cue that you might want to put it into a book, because there's probably a whole lot of other people that you might never meet in person in life, but could still benefit from your words.
Right. And it comes down to showcasing your expertise, I think, like really putting on paper what makes you different than the competition in your business.
Yes, definitely. It's the intersection of the expertise and your story. What I like to say is, without some element of your personal story and who you are and how you got to this point and how you gained all that expertise, then just it comes across as kind of you should do this, you should do that, and it's a lot of advice. The story is what creates the rapport and the relationship with your reader, so that it supports the message. So it really is finding that intersection, as we say, of story and message.
So what is the process like? So somebody reaches out to you, they're interested in having a book ghostwritten on their behalf. Like, do you assign them somebody and they do a weekly call where they share their stories and their expertise? How do they communicate the message to the people at your company to get the book written?
Well, yeah, that would be for the ghostwriting. You're absolutely correct. That we love to talk to people on the phone and kind of absorb all their information and write their books. And what the less common known information is, we don't only ghostwrite for people. And traditionally in publishing, those are really your options for a while. It was you're totally going it alone and writing your book yourself, and you hire an editor to fix it at the end, or you don't want to do anything, so you get a ghostwriter. And what I've done over the years, which I'm pretty excited about, is created all these other levels of support that we offer our authors, from the development process, which I call a book blueprint, that helps create their vision and plan of action to write their book, all the way through coaching as they write their book, all the way, like you said, up to ghostwriting. So we have many different ways that we support authors.
Yeah, I also think I would love your take on this. Like, people always ask me, like, oh, you must make a ton of money on the book. And I say I do, but it's not from selling the book. It's using the book to build my business. So it's like, you don't necessarily make the money from the sale of books, but you can leverage it to make money in your business. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, not unless your name is Stephen King.
Exactly.
Then you can make lots of money off your books.
Yeah.
I like to, a phrase I came up with, I like to call books a brand. A book is a brand flagship, because it really has so many different ways to help build your personal brand, whether it's helping you get speaking engagements, create products, have the credibility that drives clients to your business. You can create a whole bunch of, smaller books and smaller products from all the words. I mean, if you think about the average business book that has something like 50, 60,000 words, that's tons of social media content and blogging. So there's so many different ways that you can repurpose the information and the credibility that comes from the book into things that can generate cash flow.
Right. And I appreciate what you said about having, like, experts that are going through making a quality book, because as an avid reader, typically when somebody gives me a book, I'll read it. And it drives me crazy when I get something that is like not edited and spelling errors and grammar issues. And there's a lot of it these days because anybody can publish their own book. So it's hard to weed through the good stuff. So I could see the value of hiring a team that makes sure that quality is being produced.
Absolutely. And even beyond, the blatant things like, typos and spelling. I mean, everybody get a good editor,
Yes.
There's even the standpoint of just having a book that flows nicely. You know what I mean? Like those books that you can't put down because there's such an organized flow of ideas and thoughts, and it's entertaining and it's educational, and you just kind of drift from page to page, and all of a sudden it's the end of the book. There's a whole art form to writing a book that flows that nicely. So even beyond the blatant things like errors and typos and spelling things, there's the idea of just really writing a well-crafted book.
Wow, that's cool. I'm just curious for you personally, because you enjoy writing. Are you an avid reader as well?
Oh, yes.
So you read everything.
Oh, and I have the same experience as you. I mean, whenever you get a book, especially if it's recommended by someone,
Yes.
you want every book that you get. It's very exciting to get a brand new hardcover and you open it for the first time. And I want every book to be awesome. I want every book to have me, 10 pages at the end getting really sad going, oh no, the book's about to end. I want that experience with every book I pick up. So I take it personally, I guess, when I get one of those books that's not like that. I'm just like, oh, come on, I wanted you to be good.
Yes, totally get it. So what's the secret to starting a book on the right foot for anybody listening today?
Well, our secret is something that I mentioned before, our book blueprint. And this is something that I created just from the standpoint of answering the question that people ask is how do I get started? And there's development that's involved in writing a good book. There's figuring out, why are you writing it? Who are you writing it for? How is the architecture of the book going to be set up? How are you bringing your readers on a journey from point A to point B? How is each chapter set up? And if you put that thought and that work in at the beginning of the book, the quality for the rest of the whole journey certainly goes up.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And you had mentioned before we started the show that you'd be willing to offer a free copy of your book blueprint guide to anybody that just emails you. What is your email address?
Yes, it's Christine, CHRISTINE, at Christine-Inc, I-N-K, like you write with, .com.
Okay. And another question for you, for people listening, like we have a lot of people, I think sometimes when people think about a book, they're like, well, I'm not a big enough brand to have my own book. But even for individual sales professionals within real estate or mortgage or insurance industry, it's still a massive value to have that book. Like, you don't have to be a massive corporate brand to have a book. Do you agree?
I absolutely agree. And it's important as long as each person that you have a point of view, you have something interesting that you're sharing. So that doesn't necessarily mean the information. I mean, there's only so many ways that we're going to, reinvent the wheel of our industry expertise and our knowledge. But, for instance, in my book, Personal Paparazzi on Content Marketing, I don't think I can reinvent the wheel on content marketing, but we gave it an interesting Hollywood spin by comparing it to, the paparazzi and how they, in a way, build, celebrities, brands through words and images. So it's finding that interesting voice, that interesting point of view, and that's what people love to read because they love to, open a book and feel like they're having a conversation with you and that you're an interesting person. And maybe the information is things that they've heard before, but your perspective on it is unique.
So for anybody listening, I noticed that you've been published through some major publishing houses, Simon & Schuster, Penguin Group, etc.
Those are my clients. Yep.
So
that's me as a ghost.
Okay. So for a listener, though, you don't necessarily need to get published by a massive publishing house in order to have a book that you use to leverage your business successfully. Correct?
Absolutely correct. And I was actually reading some research yesterday that there's been a huge surge in independent publishers, especially this year, and also bookstores. People, they're surprised when I let them know that there's a huge resurgence of bookstores right now. Evidence of that is the fact that Amazon is now opening physical brick and mortar bookstores because they want to stay in competition. I mean, so print books, and here's another stat that might blow your mind, millennials. Mm-hmm. The tech millennials with all their technology and, being online all the time, they prefer print books to any other form of books. They prefer print books over ebooks. So there's something to be said about the traditional publishing, but certainly the independent book labels are doing really well right now.
I do too. I need to have an actual book. I can't read a book on my iPad.
I've never been able to. I tried once and I don't like it. I much prefer actually holding the book.
Same here. The first time my book died, I just went, okay, books are not supposed to die.
Yes.
What is going on? I have to plug in my book. Okay, no, I'm done.
That's so funny. Yeah, I definitely need paper. And what's interesting, having published my own book, just a self-published book that I did a couple of years ago, what I've come to learn is, like, even the local bookstores, like I did a book signing at Barnes & Noble. So I went there to my local Barnes & Noble right after I released it. And I sold a ton of books. Like, they helped me promote it, and they did it. So it's not it's not at every Barnes & Noble across the country, but the local bookstores, including the big chains, will help you locally to support and sell your book.
That's awesome. I had no idea.
It is. And what I did for my very, 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 very first book a very long time ago is I took a different take. Well, I did the independent bookstores, but I also went to coffee shops because, people definitely associate coffee with books. So I went around to all the local coffee shops in town and set up book signings with them. And that was kind of a unique take on it since people associate those things anyway.
Huh, that's awesome.
That's cool. I don't drink coffee, but I would still go there to read a book.
But, Bob, you're going to have to talk to them because you've been talking about your book for like 5 years.
You've been talking about me writing a book for 5 years.
Yeah, and I've still yet to see chapter 1.
Yeah.
So
I did actually tell you I was going to have chapter 1 a year ago, and that's I'm a little behind.
So there's a good chance you have a customer here, Christine.
Yeah.
Well,
you know what?
He'll have to read the book blueprint guide to get himself started there.
That's what I need. I can't wait to download it as soon as we're done today. I'm really looking forward to reading that.
Okay, so any last words of advice? We only have about a minute or so left. Any last words of advice for somebody that's listening in? They're a salesperson in a business, and they're not even sure if they should go out and try to start a book. Do you do consultations for people to help them decide if they even should go that route?
Oh, absolutely. Free strategy sessions to uncover your why, uncover your reason, and especially business people, salespeople, you'd really be surprised at how many actual business problems can be solved with a book. I mean, we talk about, your legacy and making an impact, but there are also real world concrete business solutions that can be solved, whether it's launching a product, maybe you're pivoting your brand, you want to expand your brand. There's lots of things where a book can explain your side of the story, give you the credibility, and really help cement your place in the marketplace more than just, sound bites and press releases.
That's awesome. What is the best place, or where is the best place for people to find you to learn more about your company?
Well, let's go with Christine-Inc.com, I-N-K, and by the time your listeners are listening to this, everything with me is reading. It will be a new brand name, but they can still find me at Christine-Inc.com.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much. This is Christine Whitmarsh, ghostwriter to authors, speakers, and personalities from around the world. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Christine.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with more Get Real after this.